Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat?
What an unbelievable week. As I said, you just said to the players, today doesn't happen without complete buy-in from the building. Listen, you guys have all reported about the changes and all that, and that's all well and good, but the buy-in and the execution, the preparation, I just told those guys, nothing substitutes good preparation.
Darren Rizzy, a winner in his head coaching debut. You know what's so interesting about that game? That game was effectively an about-face from everything the Saints were for the first part of this season. I mean, under Dennis Allen, and I'm not trying to sit here and tap dance on his grave or speak ill of the dead. Figuratively, Dennis Allen's very much alive. I just mean in a coaching parlance. Dennis Allen's Saints found creative ways to lose games. Just look at the last time they played the Falcons. They did not allow an offensive touchdown and lost the game. I mean, we were going through all the numbers of like the historical perspective around the Saints. Like the last game he coached, it was the third time in NFL history that a team had outgained their opponent by 150, outrushed their opponent by 100, scored at least whatever it was, and lost. I mean, it was historical perspective on the creative ways they kept losing, because that's what losing teams do. When push comes to shove in the NFL, where every game is competitive, and the old adage is any given Sunday, and anyone truly can beat anyone. The Panthers have now won 2 in a row, by the way. Anyone can beat anyone. How you make plays in critical moments determines if you win games. And look at what happened. On Sunday against Atlanta, you were outplayed in almost every single facet of that football game. The Atlanta Falcons outgained you by more than 100 yards. The Atlanta Falcons nearly doubled your rushing total. The Atlanta Falcons won time of possession by nearly 11 minutes. But when you needed it, you came up with the plays. It was amazing to see. Tyrann Mathieu's interception in the fourth quarter to stamp out an Atlanta drive that was potentially going to tie or win. Of course, at the end, even after Alvin Kamara drops what would have been a walk-in touchdown that would have iced the game, and we're all thinking the same thing. Man, that was your chance to put it away. Now Kirk Cousins is going back out there. You've got this makeshift secondary. After you trade Lattimore, you're out there with no Paulson Adebo. We're literally debating the impact of not having Rico Payton this week. And that's how you had Ugo Amadi playing in the slot. And what happens? Chase Young goes and gets a strip sack fumble. Game over. Awesome. You made the plays when you had to have it. Blocked field goal right before the end of the half. I mean, those were the things that helped you win this game. They were the types of plays that evaded you under Dennis Allen. And yeah, I do think Darren Rizzy plays a big role in that. The attention to detail, the emotion your team plays with. When the New Orleans Saints get the blocked field goal at the end of the first half, and they pan to Darren Rizzy, and he looks like he's about to have a friggin' aneurysm. He's like so clenched up and fired up, all the blood's rushing to his face. The memes on social media have been awesome about that, by the way. But yeah, it's very evident these players were excited to play that game and to play for Darren Rizzy. Listen to Alvin Kamara after the game. He talked about it. He was like, yeah, it felt different. Like we were playing with a different energy this week.
It was energy. It was a belief. We got some swag back, preparation, details, fundamentals. Everybody was accountable to each other, and we haven't had that. It hasn't been there. Like I've been saying these past couple of weeks, we all want to win. The recipe it was just missing something, and I feel like we got that thing. Rizzi came in and he had a clear message for us. He told us, like, man, this is what we have to do to win. Gave us the recipe, gave us the formula. Everybody bought in throughout the week. Everybody did what they had to do. It's your 111. It's about doing your job on every play, And there's still a lot of things we left out on the field, and we got to clean up, starting with me, that drop that I'm mad about still. But we won. But, I think unity was one of the words of the week. And, when you're united, you all believe and you're all together, there's so much you can do.
I mean, that's just a different feel, man. That's why you had to make this change. And I know, let me not get ahead of myself. Let me talk about the game, and then we'll talk about that. But what Alvin's saying there is why you had to make the change. You lost 7 in a row. No one in that locker room believed in Dennis Allen. They believed in Darren Rizzy. They believed in what he was saying. They believed in the energy he was bringing, the vibe, the emotion, and they went out and played their ass off, and they made plays late, and they won a game. I don't think it's going to dramatically change this season for the Saints. But that was awesome to see. A couple things about the game. Then I'll go big picture, because I know people are looking at it going, man, why'd you have to win, man, the draft? I'll get to that in a second. Number one, I loved seeing the fire from Rizzi. I tweeted at one point during the game, like, there was a penalty called where Darren Rizzi went and got all up in the ref's face. I said, that was the first time that I'd seen a Saints coach get all in a ref's behind in 3 years. Dennis Allen was so passive on the sideline. And here you had a guy going to bat for his team. Even going for it on that 4th down early in the game, which I hated, by the way, take the points. But anyway, even the guys said afterwards, it showed a belief in him. It was just a different energy. Blame where it's deserved, credit where it's due. How about Trevor Penning? Every Monday, Ross Jackson over at LouisianaSports.net does a Pro Football Focus grade piece. And one of the things he highlighted, the highest graded player for the New Orleans Saints in the game against the Falcons, the highest graded player was Trevor Penning, 92.7. 5 pressures, just 1 of 5 pressures surrendered by the Saints came from Penning. His pressure rate is about half of what it was a year ago when he was left tackle. 1 pressure on 27 snaps as a pass blocker on Sunday. Also graded highly in the run game. It was his highest run blocker grade of his career at 94.7. Again, blame when warranted, credit where it's due. Really good day for Trevor Penning. Alvin Kamara, 109 scrimmage yards for Kamara. Was good in the run game, had over 50 receiving yards as well. He did have a chance for an even bigger day, but dropped the deep pass at the end, and even talked about that after the game. It was a funny comment, actually.
Man, it was just up there, man. It was one of them easy ones. That was like, I went to the sideline and I told Coach Dub, I was like, that was like the lamest thing I've ever done in my life, playing football. But it hurt me because I could have iced it. It would have been, that would have been good. But we still won, so I'm good. It is what it is.
We can laugh about it because they won. If they had lost, I don't think we'd been laughing. Cam Jordan got a sack, which was nice to see. It took 10 weeks for Cam Jordan to get his first sack of the year. By the way, Cam is now at 118 and a half sacks for his career. This is relevant because the threshold for the Hall of Fame, this isn't necessarily something that people talk about openly, like 300 wins for a pitcher, 500 homers, 3,000 hits have always been those benchmarks in baseball. But every player in the NFL that's gotten to 125 sacks has gotten into the Hall of Fame. So Cam Jordan right now is at 118 and a half. So he's still 6.5 sacks away from that sort of magical threshold. It's hard to imagine him getting there unless he gets things in gear a good bit, but he's close. A lot of people I know are looking and bummed that the Saints won because they're looking forward to the draft. I'll tell you this. I am never going to be upset about beating Atlanta. I mean, the only scenario you could ever present to me is if the Saints are 0-16, They're playing a Week 18 game against Atlanta. There's another winless team or a one-win team in the NFL, and you got to lose it to get the first pick, and there's like a transcendent quarterback there. That might be the only time I'd ever be like, all right, you can lose it. You get a chance to beat Atlanta, I'm with it. Always. And a seven consecutive losses, eventually you got to turn that thing around and get some good vibes and good mojo. Listen, you've got plenty of losses ahead in this season because the reality is this still isn't a great team. You're still down your top two receivers. You're still old on defense. You've still got Derek Carr as your quarterback, who is mid at best, like we've talked about. Like, all those things are still true. You still have all the flaws you did a week ago when you fired Dennis Allen. You're going to play with a little more energy, a little more give a damn, a little more passion. But you still got a handful of games that it's hard to imagine the Saints winning the rest of the way. Like, I think they can win this week against Cleveland. And then you go into your bye. I think you can win at the Giants because they're terrible. And I think you can beat the Raiders in New Orleans. Outside of those three, I'm not sure you favor the Saints anywhere else. I don't know that they beat the Rams. Hard to pick them against the Commanders. And Tampa lost again. I mean, they're only a game ahead of New Orleans, but I think they're playing much better than their record shows. And I don't think you're winning at Green Bay. So 6-11 feels about right. But I mean, that's the record I picked them before the season. It feels about right. And that should put you lingering somewhere in the top 10 of the draft. And it's going to put you in position, hopefully, to draft a franchise quarterback or move up to draft your franchise quarterback. And we'll see what ultimately they do. By the way, I'm not completely sold the Saints are going to draft a quarterback, even though I would love for them to do it. I've been pounding the table about that forever. They've done it once in their history in the first round. So until they do it again, I don't know that we project them to do it. But if you're out here moaning about the Saints beating the Atlanta Falcons because of draft position, you need to check yourself. You want to win in the NFL. The best case scenario is the Saints get hot, make a run, and go 10-7. I don't think that's going to happen. But you let the chips fall where they may for the draft when that happens. But keep going, playing better, getting some young guys, some experience, some confidence. Trevor Penning playing better. Brian Brzee on the interior, things like that. Alante Taylor out wide to see if he can be a franchise corner for you. And if you win some games along the way, even better. And even better still if it's against Atlanta. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.